Good morning, voiceover friends, both on YouTube and Instagram. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Before we go any further, take just a second, if you would, jump into the live chat, share your name and where you're watching and listening from this morning. We'll do a little roll call here just in just a bit. I'd like to acknowledge you guys just as my small way of saying thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Speaking of being here, we are here every time, the same time, every weekday to talk voiceover. I just take a couple of minutes to share a thought, tip, trick, strategy, some motivation, information, anything to help move you further down the road of voiceover success. That's what this live stream is all about. And I really appreciate you being here. And also, before I go any further, let me just say if you guys are not signed up yet for VoFlow.io, my goodness, this is the world's only voiceover business operating system. And it's going to close the gap, the things where you're at now, the things that are difficult or time consuming or monotonous or scary when it comes to marketing. This is the technology that closes that gap, will supercharge your business. So go check it out. So I've noticed over my past 15 years of recording voiceovers that a lot of people automatically, by default, when they get into voiceover, they start marketing local. As a matter of fact, many of them, that's really all they think about is local. And I think it's because it's a paradigm, though, that's changed over the years that, when we think about buying something, we don't have to go local to do it. We can do it on Amazon. But for some reason, that thinking has not completely transferred over into the voiceover world. And I'm sure in many other worlds as well. But I just want to let you know today that the voiceover marketplace, in other words, the demand, the people who hire voiceover talent, are far more scattered and accessible than you may have ever imagined. And it really started to begin back in the early 2000s. I remember back in the 90s, a friend of mine, we worked together in radio, and she did quite a bit of voiceover work here in the Chicago area, and knew some of the bigger players here in the Chicago area. And she would share stories of the most successful voice talent in Chicago would basically make it a habit of walking up and down Michigan Avenue, visiting all the studios, going in, having pens, pencils, coffee mugs, whatever, swag with their name and their contact information, because they knew they had to market themselves. And that's how they did it. They just, they burned shoe leather up and down the Magnificent Mile. And there are still some studios down there, and there's still some voiceover work that's done that way, but it has changed dramatically. As a matter of fact, it's been, I'm trying to think how long it's been. I bet it's been a decade since I've had to go downtown Chicago for a session. And I remember well because it was for Disney. And it was a very exciting session to do. And yeah, it was about 10 years ago. And I have not been required to go into a studio in Chicago since then. Now, I've patched in via ISDN back when ISDN was a thing, and more recently through Source Connect, but it does not require your physical presence to be close to it to do the work for them. Voiceover is not different than most any other business when it comes to marketing. The demand is all over the world. Now, okay, and maybe you can buy the argument, okay, well, I shouldn't focus all my efforts on local marketing. And by the way, when you do that, especially if you're in a smaller market, that really limits your opportunities. And the smaller the market, the smaller the jobs in terms of pay, the less pay there is. So it's going to be really hard to scale your business if you're only focusing on your local market, unless you live in Los Angeles or New York or maybe Chicago. Um, and most people that I know they don't want to put a cap on what they do. They want to be able to expand and do, a broad variety of work, and to do higher, work their way up the ladder to higher paying work. And so that's really what I'm talking about. And when you think local, and there's nothing wrong with marketing local, nothing at all. But if there's a fence around that and you don't think outside of that, then you are severely limiting your opportunity for growth and opportunity and income. And so you might think the next natural step would be, okay, well then, maybe I'll market regionally. Okay, let's think a little bigger. Well, maybe like within a 3-state area, the tri-state area. Well, let's think a little bigger. What, the entire United States? I could market to the entire United States? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I've done a lot of jobs for clients in Chicago that had no idea that I even lived in the area. They didn't know, they didn't care, it did not matter. I've done work for people all over the country and they didn't have a clue where I was located, nor did they care to know. Did not matter because I can do the work from my home studio just as you do. If we need to be directed, we have the technology to do that. So all of that can be done easily. So hopefully now you're starting to get a little bit excited and think, okay, I don't have to think my town. I don't have to think my state. I don't have to think the adjacent states. I can think nationwide. Yes, but even gets better than that. You can think globally. Here's a really cool thing to know. If you are an English speaking person, English is the international business language. I work with clients all over the world and they all speak English. And there are a lot of English speaking people that live, all around the world. And I'm sure this is also true to maybe a slightly lesser extent, but maybe even a greater extent. I don't know if you speak Spanish. My point is this, we live in a global society and the demand for the kind of work you do is not limited by where you live, the state you live in, the country you live in, even the continent you live in. I would say approximately half of all the work I do is outside of the US. Most of that falling within the European countries, but also into the Middle East, Australia, China, Japan. I don't think I've done anything in Antarctica, but aside from that, I think I've worked for just about somebody in just about every country in the world. So if one of the things that really frustrates you or slows you down in marketing is you think it's a limited pool, it's not. It's not. You will never exhaust the leads, meaning the people who are prospective clients of yours out there. You will never exhaust that because they are everywhere and they are in mass. You're looking for content creators, primarily video producers, um, tens and tens and tens of thousands of them all over the world. So again, this is just to help you begin to when it comes to marketing, begin to think much broader than perhaps you've been thinking before, because voiceover is in demand literally in every corner of this planet. And if you're not marketing yourself that way, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity. VoiceOver is a global marketplace. And again, the great tool to use to help get you there, VoFlow.io. All right, let's check in on the live chat, see what we got going on. All right, let's see here on Instagram. We've got, let's see here. Ivan, David. We got Janesville checking in. Jonathan, what's up? Dennis. Hey, Jeff, what's going on? Love the streams, Bill. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to try to make it a habit to do this every weekday on Instagram as well as YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, let's see who we've got here. We've got Galen in Chicago, Marlene in California, Sandra, what's up in London, Ontario, Sled from Newark, Delaware says, happy blood moon all. Hope you got to see it. We had full cloud cover. Celeste, you're going to think that I live in a cave, but I did not even realize that last night was a blood moon, and it was pretty cloudy here, so I probably would have missed it anyhow, but it would have been cool to see. Hey, John, what's up in Denver? Corey in Wisconsin, Sheila, Chicago, Nephi in Knoxville, Jason, what's up in Nebraska, Jim checking in from Memphis. We've got Rusty way up there, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, encouraging everybody to hit that thumbs up. And by the way, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure that you subscribe here to the YouTube channel and share it, with your friends. I appreciate that. Ron, what's up from our side of the pond? Okay, Ron, good to see you. Let's see here. Who am I missing? We got Joe in the UK. Can't miss Joe in the UK. Happy Tuesday to you. Happy Tuesday to Tuesday, Bill. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Robert in Lighthouse Point, Florida. What's up, Robert? And Kish Pro checking in from Upper Michigan. Guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it today. As you think about marketing and you're doing your marketing thing, begin to expand. Just get crazy. Do something that you would normally do. Maybe you think, you know what? I'm going to look for some production companies in Denmark today, or Sweden, or Germany, or Dubai, or, Santiago. Think of some places way outside of where you may be located and just begin that process and prove me right on this. Or if you prove me wrong, let me know. But again, I mean, this is what I do every day. So I know that the market is there. It's just a matter of going out and creating an awareness of what you do to the people that hire people like us. It's that simple. If you haven't joined my free community, right, make sure you do. We can continue this conversation in our free voiceover community. All you have to do is go to the link below in the description. I would love to see you there today. Have a great day, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.